Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to more Wargame Red Dragon. Today more ranked, as I am operating as the Baltic motorized deck. Definitely one of my favorite decks. I haven't played in quite a while though, not in ranked anyway. So I might be making some mistakes here. Commentary is post-game because that allows me to focus better on the game and highlight some things in the editing as I'm doing throughout this video. Now, in this battle, my plan is to go to Boris. I have really good infantry, so if I need to, I can grind through the enemy infantry in Boris, so long as it's not a mechanized deck. Gregory, in the meanwhile, is going to be defended by a couple of HGM teams, as well as a couple of... one Erico operator and a bunch of Spado, just for general shock purposes. I find the enemy NTR there, Flak Panzer Gepard, and there is a Leopard or two with him. So let's make sure that this NTR dies very quickly. That's one. I wonder if I now have free reign to deal with any threats as I see them using the Salamandra. So let's turn on the Kokon, let's retask the Ito 90 because there's no helicopter threat down the middle, and let's try to take down the Martyrs because those would be a fantastic target. Don't quite get the Martyr, and I do drop off my NTGMs too soon. So I attack move the HGMs into the building, which will allow them to still take shots as they're moving forward, even though it is something as cheap and as breakable as a Fuchs over there. Over in Boris, I have one double group of Yekeri, so that's 20 guys. I also have 20 Raniko Yekeri, those are the real pushing force, and the flanking force is a couple of recoilless rifle trucks with the KT autocannon transports from the other guys, from the Yekeri. Over on the far right, recoilless rifle infantry with Erico, to deal with enemy helicopters, potentially enemy, mechanized pushes, and basically whatever else comes along. Salamandra at this point can't quite see anything, so I have it hover high. T-55 recon tank over there, T-55P on PSV, moving along the road so that I can shoot any incoming reinforcements. And there's a mortar in the back, giving me a lot of tactical options. Now, there's two Leopard 2A4s coming in, there's AMX-13s coming in, and a bunch of Natre. And this is where I think Militia Man makes a mistake. Because what he ends up doing is mistiming his push. He pushes the Natre first, but I think he wasn't expecting how quickly his reservists were dying. And as they were dying so quick, the tanks didn't exactly have anything to shoot at. There goes another Flak Panzer Gepard. So once again, I maintain pressure from the air onto the target, and ideally, as the NTR is now dead, I can move up on the left without any fear of... not without any fear of using aircraft, but the MiG-21s can definitely be useful there. The spikes, almost empty after defeating quite a lot of transports. So cycling these guys into position to deal with more potential threats, and using the helicopter to deal with the Martyrs. This is when a couple of YP-408s show up, and that seems to be Corps Mariniers inside those transports. So I better be careful, or I'm going to find that my infantry starts dying really quickly. Their transports are gone. I park my fire support around the building at range to make sure I still have an option if I want to take that building, because I really do. Stealth tank down the middle to deal with all the trash faster, and get rid of all the NATO over there, because they're just getting annoying. Capturing another position. The enemy went with another CV early, so I had to buy one. That puts him at a lead of 95 points. Now at this point the Salamandra is basically completely empty. It's still serving as a spotter, but beyond that not much. Telling the Yekeri to move forward, MiG-21 preventatively striking the building, and he's starting to respond with a fighter. An F-16 MLU shows up. Also, the Leopard starts showing up. I would love to get some shots in on those, especially side shots. Because spike shots from the front, they generally don't do that much damage, even though the missiles are really quite good and definitely very fast. Checking line of sight with the tank, and this is to make sure that anything that comes down the road gets attacked right away. At this point, the Raniko Yekeri 90 moving to secure the edge of Boris, and potentially round up any survivors, because I did wipe out some vehicles early on there. Look at that, Huzaren. Martyrs are dealing with the Terra Musti, I think? Corps Mariniers, 30 of them. I don't have the numbers, I'm gonna fall back. Let's take a more cautious approach. At this point I was going, what the hell? But my CV somehow jumped building. Also, my MS-17 never should have been on top of the CV because it's just such a dead giveaway. Complete misfire there. Rocket pod strike might have done something, it might not. I'm not sure. We're just going to have to gauge the response by seeing how much resistance there is. Logistics, resupplying the ATGMs to make sure that I can still deal with round 2, seeing as those leopards are likely not done just yet. SPG there, and some recoilless rifle stuff around the sides. Let's make sure that nothing sneaks in. Potentially also over on the far right, so yeah, let's go there. Make sure that I have some defenses. And look at that, there's more Corps Marineers, but there's only half of them. So either they've been split up or half of them are gone. T-55 and Yekri trying to deal damage, but they're already retreating into the tree line. At this point, the MLU, quick on the draw, goes after one of my jets, and I more or less managed to pull it back. What I have already done is bring forward another group of Raniko Yakari, so I can push once again on the forest. Logistics about to run empty. I join them up so that they disperse their supplies faster and tell them to run back to the CV and then run into the forest so that I can use them when I need them and when the situation is safe. Now, earlier I said that the smoke, or that the mortar gives me tactical options, either suppressive or smoke, and this time I go for smoke. Making sure that the Raniko don't get murdered the moment that they stick their left foot out the forest, because there potentially is still a martyr out there. P on PSV, shooting reinforcements, potentially getting the kill on the infantry, but I'm not sure and I can't exactly bank on that. What I do suspect is that there is more on the way, and especially that his response with aircraft against my aircraft is going to continue to grow faster and faster. So that ROM is going to, or that double ROM is going to deal with the MLU should it show up again as my MiG-21MF is around. I'm going to try kiting it. Now there's another group of Corps Marineers. This time the Raniko, completely calm, and the Corps Marineers not so much, deal with it as quickly as they can. And once they're gone, run back. Because there's another squad, and I don't exactly have that much fire support beyond the mortar and the tank. But the tank's not in a great position, and neither are those recoilless rifle vehicles. Now I'm trying to keep the tank into a position here. It's not that easy because the tank tends to want to sit into cover, but I do get a shot on the martyr. And that doesn't kill the martyr, but it definitely wounds it. Logistics has arrived in Boris, so I can now reinforce my infantry squads and make sure that these guys are ready for another round. The tank, looking good, excellent position. Yes, it will likely be detected, but unless it's something like a leopard coming down that road, it's going to have a really hard time taking shots from the tank and surviving. For some reason, there's two martyrs sitting out in the field. I only have a MiG-21MF to deal with it, which is not great. But it's better than nothing. So let's get some damage in and make sure that these guys are either going to be wounded or stunned or panicked or all. And that they won't be as threatening later on. Raniko, healed up and ready for the next one. ROMs moving forward, and look at that. More infantry. Once again, the mortar smokes up, or sorry, the mortar fires up and starts dealing HE damage. And over on the far right, /Gregory, we have the martyrs, which are taking missile from my spikes. So that should wipe out the martyrs. Smoke coming in from the mortar, preventing the Raniko to get murdered instantly. Well, at least that was the plan, but eventually I cancelled that. And there we go, there's Natre. Natre are mostly a rounding error for Raniko Yekri. It's the Corps Marineers that can be really dangerous to them, depending on the numbers and fire support. In this case, they're not that dangerous, because I have the numbers, and they don't have the fire support, and they're already calm. Sorry, they're already panicked. Now, my MiG-21MF was held back over Anna to try and kite that MLU over Boris. He doesn't fall for it. He does not fall for it, and the NTR is out of position. The ROM should have been more on the left. At this point, though, it doesn't really matter, because I'm able to get my objective, which is to wipe out the infantry. And at this point, Militiaman goes, nope, I've had enough, and he leaves. That was almost a 9 times markup. He's not a bad player, he's a major, he's the same rank I am. 54% win rate over about 250 plus games, so he's definitely not new. So let's look at the replay and let's see what happened. So, post-mortem from his perspective, what's he doing? I suspect that his plan was to go hard on Gulf. Take this, using the Natra, the reservists, as a front line, and then back that up with his Flakpanzer Gepard for anti-air and his tanks to deal actual damage. 2 Leopard 2A4s can be pretty rough to deal with. You can see that he is moving in this direction with, also with 2 AMX-13 FL-12s. That's a lot of firepower when it comes to dealing with infantry, but they're also very quickly disposed of. 3 frontal armor is a joke. These guys, there is his second CV. Here's the Martyr 2s. The Flakpanzer, so a second Flakpanzer, and a bunch of AMX PRIs and some, I think, recon. So he moves forward. His CV is in a very, very easy to guess spot. I come in, and not only do I take out the anti-air, I also stun his infantry. Even the Martyr. One of the Martyrs gets stunned, one gets shaken, not stirred. Over here, his mobile forces, his motorized guys, of course rush forward and immediately drops off an HGM. It's a clever placement because it locks down this area, but it also makes for a very easy target to kill using any infantry that comes down here. Yes, the Milan might get a shot off, but it's not even allowed to fire. So at this point, he's still pushing, and the tanks are now split off. He's rerouting his Gepard, most likely because he wants to get some sort of anti-air in the middle, and he wants to deal with the Salamander, because it's a real menace at this point. I'm carefully preserving the ammo, and it seems to be working. Over here, he has nothing. So he's bringing in some units. This is the Corps Mariniers that are coming in, and the Panzer Grenadiers from the Martyr 2s. Where these were supposed to go, I'm not really sure. Maybe sitting there with Martyr 2s for support? Arguably, that could work. This is what I mentioned earlier in the video. This seemed half-assed. Like it was mistimed. If everything had gone according to his plan, the Leopard 2A4s and the infantry would have been attacking at the same time. But because of how quickly the Spadokroniarzi deal with all the Natre, the tanks don't have any duty doing this. They don't have any place to be. There goes his second anti-air, and he's now... Yeah, he's had to buy another anti-air, but he's not really in a position to use it. So that's when the Salamandra has free reign. Over here, the Ranico and Yekeri are dealing with the Panzer Grenadier. And the Panzer Grenadiers, of course, quickly getting taken out. This is when the quick Corps Mariniers come in. Motorized transports. And those are definitely the guys that jumped into that building. Now, as they do that, they take no time at all, wiping out 1 KT. And I immediately reverse speed. And the Mustis are already on it. So he immediately pulls them back out of the building, back into cover. Not enough for his transports, but the infantry at least survived. His Panzer Grenadiers are dead. His Natre here are gone. He has no spotter for the Leopards, no recon, except for the one Husaren over there. And had I had like 2 helos, I could have run right into his base. The only thing that might have been able to do something about it was the Martyr. So at this point, and this is more of a learning point for me, I could just go with a couple of helicopters and whoop, right into Echo. MiG-21MFs, instrumental. Absolutely beautiful aircraft. Very annoying to deal with, because they will kill your anti-air before the anti-air generally kills the bird, depending a little bit on what type of anti-air you use. Over here he does have a Lux. Where are you going? Where's this little guy going? Yeah, he's definitely going across. Definitely going across. I think that this guy, had the battle lasted longer, could have been a real nuisance. Because had he not been used to go on the offensive, then he would have most likely spotted everything I was bringing in. So, with already about 6 minutes past, 5 minutes and change, I need to speed up the rate at which I bring base defense, because he could have run and killed off this, or run right to my base. He had options. And only now I'm bringing in this, so this looks would have been safe. Now over here he has the Gepard, but it's disabled. I'm not actually using a seed aircraft. Over here, the Corps Mariniers are taking fire from the Yekeri. The Martyr 2 is... Nope. Not gonna get killed by the MiG-21F. The MLU once again misses a shot, and because of that I survive. Yeah, he has almost nothing here. Which is why it's probably so annoying that I pushed a couple times with the Raniko, killing what he had, and then pulling right back. Had I moved forward, I would have gotten the buildings here easily. Here we go, Course Marineers. Elite Infantry, great guys to fight, but not in these numbers. Had I stayed, I'd have been dead. Most likely. I might have had some support from the tank and from the Ikari, but not a lot. And the Ikari were already taking fire from his mortar. So, running away, I think, definitely the best choice, but let me know down below in the comments what you think. Tank here, trying to deal some damage, but not actually getting a shot off, other than on that martyr. Which means that his fire support was none. He didn't have any. So all he was doing was bringing in more infantry, and this is now Natre. So the reservists once again. This seems like a waste. This is 50 points that's sitting here doing nothing, while over here it could have been more instrumental. I wasn't making any moves here, none whatsoever. I wasn't even trying. The Martyr 2s are also expensive. So he devoted 110 points here, which couldn't actually reach out very far and couldn't do any kind of real damage. And the Martyrs would just be sitting there in the field, waiting to get attacked by my MiG-21s. Which is happening right now. And you can see I'm trying to come into the side of this thing. Frontal armor is 7, side armor is 5, so... yeah, it's not really going to do that much damage. And at this point, I think I move forward with my double squad of Raniko. AMX-10, or sorry, the AMX PRIs get taken out. I suppose his AMX-13 FL-12s have been taken up by my missiles here. Spikes? Yeah, one guy got elite. Very nice. Yeah, wow, I even took care of a leopard? Yeah. Oh, you turned your ass. Oh, you poor leopard. This leopard, for some reason, decided it was a great idea to run away, exposing the back of the tank to the HEGM team that's in there. And a leopard on the front, 19 frontal armor, my missile, 21. I'm going to need a couple shots to break that thing down. If I shoot it in the back, not so much, because you only got 4 armor there. Now, he's also bringing in another Fuchs, so there's another CV coming in. But at this point, I think he's been so demoralized that he lost a lot of stuff, with basically nothing to show for it, that he decided, no, let's call it quits. So, a very, very quick match. I didn't do that much, beyond just kill a whole bunch of stuff. And especially the early kills on the Gepards, I think worked out really well. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick match. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and I'll see you guys soon for more battles.